Hey everybody, this is Expedition. Well, I guess it's the home screen for Expedition, and this is the Expedition app that is on my tablet here, and I have actually the game set up with all the cards and everything in front of me. But this is a really innovative, exciting new way to handle the RPG experience. I have been playing RPGs since I was like 7 years old. My older brother got me into it, and thank you, Laurel. And this is a way to, like, one of the things about RPGs that like kind of are a stumbling block for people to get into them is the fact that they have a lot. They have a big kind of wall right there, and the rules, you know, like getting a hold of understanding how those rules work and like finding somebody to teach you. I mean, diving into it yourself from the very beginning is a very difficult thing to do. And in this age, this day and age of like the electronics and Wi-Fi and what have you, the people behind this that developed this really did an amazing thing where they took the RPG experience, they applied basically a handful, like 4 or 5 rules, you know, total. And they've made a very deeply immersive role-playing experience. Now, it does rely a little bit on the players, you know, to kind of, you know, create the experience themselves, you know, allow their imaginations to kind of like spring forth from their mind and dive into the situations that you're in. But once the game starts to flow, as any good RPG works, the rules kind of get out of the way, and the players actually start to experience and live and breathe the world that they're running around in. And so I really, really enjoyed playing this. This is like a perfect thing for my family to play together. You know, I play in a normal D&D group every 2 weeks. I've been DMing the same game for about 2 years now. And so, I mean, that takes a lot of effort from me. I have to make maps. I have to track what each NPC in the world is doing at any given time. I have to keep all of the detailed relationships between countries and nations and monsters and bandit lords and what have you, like kind of present in my mind and taking furious notes and what have you. And so it is nice to like take a step back and just play something that is really, really straightforward and fun and gets to the core of why RPGs are enjoyable. So let me show you how it works. I'll just kind of run through a little bit of an adventure for you here with the app and with the cards, and then we'll come back here and I'll talk to you more about what I like about Expedition. All right, cool. Alright, so I have my Google tablet out here, and I've got the Expedition app out and running on it. Now, you can do this on your phone just as easily. I'm using the tablet just because of the fact that it's kind of a bigger thing and you can see it a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through exactly how you go ahead and set up an adventure, and we're going to touch base on some of the basic mechanisms of this. Now, I don't want to walk you through an entire adventure that's on the app, because they do have a cool little storyline to them and things like that, and I want you to kind of explore that. And plus, you can go ahead and get the app obviously yourself, and you can explore it on your own and check those things out. But obviously I have all the cards set up here. These are the different ability cards that you'll be drawing randomly from when you create your character at the very beginning of the game. Also, you will gain rewards that will allow you to add to your abilities by drawing those cards. Over here we have the different creatures, the different levels of them. You know, they have like a 1, like here's a Fey, a level 1 creature, and then like all the way on the bottom there's Fey level 4, things like that. So you can, as you are doing your adventures, you might have a situation where you have a wandering monster where you'll draw one randomly, and sometimes the test will just flat out tell you that you need to go ahead and like search for certain monsters and have those face the party. Loot cards, you probably guessed it. After you, you know, any good adventure is about after you succeeding at something, you get loot, and so you're going to be drawing cards from there. So down here, you have the different like classes. There isn't like a standard, like in D&D, like when you play like, you know, I'm a fighter, I'm a thief, you know, whatever. So in this game, you can kind of create your own, and you can kind of do your own thing, but they have some basic ideas here, like the Wild Hunter, and like you gain a +4 to your rolls to role playing while you're in the wilderness. Obviously that makes sense, right? And so then the starting abilities is the starting number of cards, the types of cards. So going on a little bit, you know, the Alcoholic Diplomat, 4 music and 4 melee, the Stealthy Recluse, he gets better in the dark, and then he has 8 ranged cards. And so like they separate up, like he's all about range obviously, but obviously there's one, and as you can tell, like here's the pack rat, a nice mix of ranged, melee, and magic. And so like it's not hoarding, it's being prepared for anything. And so pretty straightforward. You have your little health marker there, and you just keep track of that with however you want to do that. You can use pieces of paper, you can use pennies, you could use a cube or whatever you want. And plus you need a 20-sided die, which I'm going to go ahead and put out like so. Alright, let me grab a handful of cubes here that I can just put out so I can use those as my markers. I'm just going to take one of those and I'm going to put it on the 12 there to show that I have 12 hit points. And I've already drawn my abilities for my Wild Hunter. I'm going to go into the premise that I'm playing this with 3 other people. Now the cool thing is, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to just kind of go through a little bit of one of the adventures that's already preloaded into the app. And this is what my daughter and I did, and we played through these, and we like went back and played through them again and so on and so forth. And it was a pretty fun time. So you begin the game, you just hit the begin obviously. Here you have how many people are playing with. We're playing with 4, but you can lower it down to, you can go a solo adventure. You can have more. And the adventure will scale to the number of people that you have. So multi-touch means that basically when you're getting ready to fight combat, and I'll show that to you in just a little bit, you'll be putting your finger on the app to like basically stop the round of combat so you can go ahead and resolve things. And I'm going to leave the full help on just so you can kind of see that, but you can turn it off to no help, some help, so just some pop-up messages and what have you, just to help you along. But the game, as I said, is very good. The app is very good at like helping you to understand the game. And after you played it a couple times, it'll be pretty straightforward for you. So you go ahead, hit next, and now, like I said, you have featured quests, which are what we're going to do here right away. And then we have a guided adventure. What that does is it kind of like, that's I think where it shines, where like if you have this on your phone and you have the deck of cards with you, you and a couple buddies can just say, okay, I'm going to run the adventure, and I'm going to kind of like and you come up with it on the fly. You come up with an idea of like, you need to find the bandit king and bring him the scroll of Desmodora, whatever, because that's the ransom for the king's daughter or whatever. There you go. You have a plan, and then you can build it up with the guided adventure. The custom encounters, that's just basically the combat system. So like you could just play this completely outside of anything, just doing an adventure, talking to people. You could take an existing adventure from another game system and like just port it over, and then you just use this to resolve the combats. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do, and it works really well. And finally, like at the very end, the custom quest. Custom quests are going to be built, and they're going to actually develop the ability for other people to make some, and then they'll be uploaded to the actual app to play. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, feature quests, and we have Oust Albinus. Your party encounters a smelly situation, or Mistress Malaise, mystery, misfortune, and a mistress. Well, that sounds pretty cool, and it's a lot of alliteration there. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So I'm not going to, go through. There's going to be a lot of text going on here. I'm not going to read all of it. Just, if you want, you can, like I said, download the app and like check out and read that text. But it does a very good job of setting the scene in this. But so you select one adventure from the deck, which we've done already, and you pass the deck along, and then you keep that card face up in front of us, which we've already done. And so then you go ahead and hit next after everybody's done that. And then everybody draws their starting abilities, which we've done. I've already read through them all, but let me show you a couple of those really quick. So these have things where it's like a risky shot, and then tells you what type of ability it is. And this is like a ranged ability, as you can see here. And so it has this number. So greater than or equal to 11 means you'll roll and succeed in this. It has a target of 1, and it'll do 5 damage. But if we fail, we take 2 damage ourselves if that happens. So Healing Frost is a spell. You can also use on the back, magic ability. And on 8 or higher, it targets all adventurers. That's what this little helmet is. And then everybody gains 2 health. You summon a solid wall of ice to protect your allies from harm. And so you have these different abilities that you can use and what have you to like go ahead and when the time comes to be in combat, you're going to draw 3 of these cards. So we'll just go ahead. I'm going to shuffle these up again. We're going to put those down. And so then we're going to take a single d20, which we've been instructed to do, which we've already done. We're going to go on to next. So now it says the Holy Order. So your party is a group of crusaders, the Order of Retribution, a Holy Order tasked with eliminating the undead presence that has recently grown across the land. An order has come from your superiors of a mission in a distant town of Brustwick, but your purpose there is unknown. Your contact for this mission is Brother Pell, a confident and longtime friend who lives in Brustwick and knows much about the goings-on in the town and the surrounding area. So now, okay, there's your setting. You know exactly what you're doing. Classic fantasy adventure here. So after several days' journey and so on and so forth, like I said, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. You can go ahead and check it out. But basically, you go find Pell, and Pell says, oh, there's something horrible going on. He doesn't look well. He looks, he used to know him as being this robust individual, and he looks like very sickly and tired. And so he invites you into his house, and he tells you the story, and basically tells you the story of Mistress Malaise, an influential aristocrat who until recently had been vying for governance of the town. Despite her credentials, she was not a member of the governor's family and didn't stand a chance at inheriting the position. Decade after decade of rejection brewed a bitter hate for the ruling family as well as an unquenchable ambition. So basically what happened is that she turned herself over to evil and has become a lich. Oh my gosh, a lich. So, not a good deal, right? So anyway, so he says he spied on her and he knows where she keeps her phylactery. If you're not knowing what that means, basically that's where the essence of the lich is. It's like it's a sacred item to them, and you need to track that down and be able to use it so you can you bring it back to Brother Pell here, and then he can perform an unbinding ritual, and he releases the soul, and then you'll be able to actually then slay Malaise. So you begin the hunt immediately. So you go ahead, and so this is, and the thing is, they say actually you're supposed to take the app, and each person reads a portion of the adventure, and then hands to the next person. So everybody's involved, everybody's telling the story, they can use their voice and what have you, and not, and so when I did that with my daughter, that's exactly what we did. We passed it back and forth, we read it, and we got excited about what's going on. Now here's what's cool is whoever wrote this did a really good job, because it sets the scene. It isn't just like, yeah, okay, you go to the graveyard and you go to the tomb. It's like the moist soil squishes underfoot as you enter the graveyard. The musty smell is much stronger here. So it's like already like making people like feel the moment and feel the scene. A good dungeon master does that. He describes the situation, lets the image be created in the players' heads. So it doesn't take long to spot the mausoleum. It's at the center of the graveyard and rises a large and stately stone structure, very new looking compared to the other headstones. And so now everybody's kind of feeling a little nervous, right? So lurking near the entrance of the mausoleum, you find 3 stealthy-looking figures. They appear to be gathering up the courage to venture inside. What do you do? So you can call out to them, say, hey, what's going on? Or you can attempt to incapacitate them. So now this is like your first big decision. So the party can decide what they want to do. And so, let's say you call out to them. So we call out to them. And you shout out to them and announcing your presence. They appear startled and disappear inside. Not too long after, the screams begin. As you make it to the door, you hear a small explosion, a sickening crunching sound, and then silence. The Order doesn't pay you nearly enough for this. So what happened to them? Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead next. So you take a deep breath of the damp air outside and venture within. And so basically you find out that there are some magical traps inside that were set by Malaise. And the bodies, the people you chased in when you called out to them have all been killed by those traps. So here's a cool thing. Now what if we had decided to attack them or subdue them? We would have probably run into the traps on the inside, right? So that's like, whoa, it's like maybe we made a pretty good decision there. We didn't have to so unbeknownst to us, we waved, hey, how's it going? And they ran in and set off all the traps. So, we kind of maybe dodged a bullet there. So towards the end of the long corridor, you find the last door of the mausoleum's innermost chamber. You hear a creaking sound as you press against the door, but the noise didn't come from the door. Oh my gosh. And so what is it? Okay, prepare to fight a zombie, Tier 1 undead, and a skeleton mage, Tier 3 undead. Now, you notice the Tier 1 and Tier 3. That's important because that's a total of 4. And how many adventurers do we have? We have 4. So that's one of those scaling things. If we had played with less adventurers or more adventurers, we'd be fighting more monsters or tougher monsters, so the tiers would equal those. So we're going to go ahead and take the undead deck here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to find a skeleton mage. So here's that. We found a skeleton mage. And I got to find a zombie here. And, okay, here we go. Now I found a zombie. All right, so let me just show you these cards really quick so you can kind of see what they are. So, they have some information. They have their hit points there, and then they have a +1 damage from fire. Zombies don't like fire. Oh, fire. And a surge, and surges can happen randomly in combat. It revived to half if it's been killed. So, like, we don't want a surge to happen after we've defeated a zombie, right? So, okay, so you put that down there. Let's just take a look at the Skeleton Mage really quick. And so it says, Surge, all adventurers take 1 frost damage for each undead in play. That's what that is, that little snowflake there. Each undead in play, alive and dead. Oh my gosh. So now we're going to go ahead, and that's what we're facing. We're facing these 2 creatures. And so let's take a couple of little guys here and show so we can keep track of their hit points. There's 18 and 8. And so what happens now is we're going to go ahead and do next. So we've got the tokens ready. And so all players shuffle up their ability decks, and then draw, but don't look at their top 3 abilities. So I'll shuffle up my deck here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I get done shuffling that, and we're going to go ahead and draw the top 3 cards off that deck. And now I can't look at these yet because we haven't started the combat. So what happens is everybody's going to do that. They go ahead and draw the top 3 cards, and what we're going to do after we start the combat, everybody's going to look at their top 3 cards. They need to go ahead and pick the action that they want to do, and then they have to then put their finger on the table, not the table, onto the screen of the tablet or the phone or whatever you're using to show that you are ready to go. So let me just go ahead and move these out of the way. It probably wasn't the best spot in the world to put those on, and so let me see if I can get this in. I don't want to touch the screen because it'll screw up on me. All right, there we go. Cool. So, all right, so we got ahead. We got the skeleton and the zombie and the skeleton mage, and so we're gonna go ahead and start the timer by clicking there. All right, so now that's going up. So watch that, and so we're looking at these things. Okay, so oh my gosh, we got hit. So I got Healing Frost, I got Magic Missile or Precision Spot. Well, every enemy's. Oh, I like this one. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're taking damage. So everybody place it down, and I put my finger down, and then. Okay, everybody put their finger down. Obviously, I don't have the other people there. And so that can be a little bit difficult, right? So now everybody is going to do their rolling and resolving of their actions. So each person is going to go ahead. You can do this in any order. It doesn't matter. And so we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to take my precision shot. And if I can roll a 12 or better against 1 target, I can do 4 points of damage to it. So I want to go ahead and, go ahead and let's get these guys down. Maybe somebody already did a bunch of damage to the zombie. Did 4 points of damage to the zombie. So I can take that zombie out if I can roll 12 or better on my die. So let's see what I get here. An 11! Oh! So everybody's like barking. It's like, way to go. Some great precision shot you are. So okay, fine. I didn't do well. So unfortunately that didn't work. So everybody else does it, and maybe let's say somebody picks up the slack and managed to take out the zombie, puts it to 0. But remember, we can't get rid of it because of the fact that he's got that surge ability. Plus, the skeleton mage will actually do stuff according to the surge ability as well. So we're going to go ahead and hit next to see what happens here. Oh, let's hit next, and so now it says, set this to the combined tier of the remaining enemies. You are victorious when this reaches 0. Well, we took out the zombies, so that's a tier 1, so we're going to go ahead and lower that down to 3. We didn't kill them all off, so we can't end the encounter, so we're going to go ahead and hit next. And so all adventurers take 6 damage. Everybody slides their health down 6 damage. Oh my gosh, that's not good at all. So we need to be faster next time. So if you're knocked out, so like if anybody got knocked out, they'd have to, we reduce the number of adventurers, but nobody did. Everybody's fine so far. And so we didn't get defeated. And so we're going to go ahead and hit next again. So all players shuffle up their ability decks. So now this is this thing where you're going to keep the other 3 cards in your hand. So you're going to go ahead and we're going to take these. We're going to shuffle them up again and do the exact same thing again. Now, regardless of what happens, I'm going to pretend that we win here. Just so I can show you what happens. But let's go ahead and see what we have. And we're going to go ahead and start the timer. Actually, let me cheat for a second. So let me see here. Focus perception. Oh, this is kind of cool. It's like some of the abilities don't actually attack. It's like on a success +4 to your next roll. And then if you fail, -2. Or a risky shot, you'll take damage. You do it. So like, let's say we're going to do that. We're going to do that. But I don't know that yet, technically, right? So we start the timer. I put that down. Bam, bam, bam. So note, and 4th person. Now the thing is that if we actually got knocked down to only like four, like the three people, it only recognizes the three fingers that are on there. So we know we roll and resolve. Let's see if I do better. An 11 or higher. Let's say I got to kill the skeleton mage here. 17, woo! So I'm the hero that time. So like, because he took a lot of damage or whatever, we knocked it down. So we've gone ahead and I took care of the skeleton mage. They're both dead. We're gonna go hit next. So here's some. We took care of the skeleton mage. So you notice how it pops up the end victory. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So now, like, you know, at the end of battles, you get loot, tools, weapons, and other tangible items. So let's go ahead and get rid of these cards, and so I can actually get access to the loot here. And so, for this encounter, the party may choose to forego loot and instead learn new abilities. So you could draw 3 ability cards from one deck, and then you get to pick one and add it to your deck of cards. And you also have the ability to discard cards out of your ability cards as well. So you can kind of, you know, a little bit of a deck building thing there to kind of like make sure you have the right abilities. Or you can go ahead and draw loot for the party. So we're going to do that instead. So so I can show you some loot cards. And then, let's see here. We have a Scroll of Chance. It turns one into a 20. Or Enchanted Glass, single use. Choose one, double the damage dealt by one elemental ability, or your guide reveals the next encounter. So, obviously that would be working, and I'll show you that in just a second here, if like you have a DM. But in this case, we really don't have a DM because of the fact that we're just going through a guided adventure that's like implanted in the thing. So we can hand those to other people so they can use those to have those abilities. And if you have loot that you use, it doesn't normally take an action. It's just a free thing that you can do. So you can do that and playing a card when you're actually in encounters. So, alright, so we did that. And so then it gives you a little rundown. It says loot can be used any time. It does not cost an action, as I just said. You fought violently for 2 rounds, 21.1 seconds, taking an average of 10.6 seconds per attack. And so it just kind of goes through, like, how you did. You know, you can kind of just give a run through. And so then it says, taking stock, the undead fiends lay slain at your feet, and resting on the point in the center of the room is what appears to be the phylactery mentioned by Brother Pell. And so now we would continue on with the adventure step by step. And I'm not going to, like I said, I don't want you to, in case you're going to go through this yourself, I don't want to like ruin the surprise, because there are actually twists and turns to this adventure. But there you go. You should have a really good idea of how that works. So let me just take let me go back here just quickly and take start. I just want to show you something. I'm not going to run through this, but if you do same deal, we're going to go through the same process. And if you do like a guided adventure, what happens is now you have a guide, you have a person, you have a DM basically. And so the guided adventures, as the guide, it says you do all these things. You build a world from scratch, you describe your party's history, and you kind of do exactly what the created adventure does, but you're doing it as your own. And if you've played like role-playing games before, you know full well how to do this. But this is like a real bare bones thing. You don't have to make a giant world, you don't have to make a giant map or anything. You're just going to be describing this kind of ad hoc and like going through the process. And so then it just kind of walks you through it where it's like, as it says, these are open rules. You can use the environment, and the creativity applies to everything. You know, your action doesn't have to be on an ability card every round. So you can, like, you know, break away from the cards. You can say, you know, it's like, I'm going to, like, dive over the table and try to tackle the orc or whatever. Okay, fine. Yeah. And so they actually have rules where it's like, that's an easy thing to do. You know, 10 or higher on a die. Or you can say that would be tough. That's 15 or higher, difficult. Or easy would be 5. So you can kind of just use that as an idea. And that's where like these other abilities where it's like +4 to role playing when in the wilderness. So you get a bonus if like you're in the wilderness and you said, I want to go ahead and, you know, track the monsters back to their den and find more treasure or whatever. And so you use those special abilities that are on there. And so then here you go. It's like this is where everybody's kind of like it's instructing the guide how to run through them. You build the world, you describe that, and it even gives you ideas. And then it choose a relationship. So it chooses something like friends and family. It's like that's like for your party, like as far as like you guys are all buddies, or you can just say, you know, it's like the whole strangers at the start and trigger brings you together, like something like, you know, you're at a fancy party and all of a sudden like it gets attacked by some bandits and you didn't know each other before, but you have to fight those and things like that, all kinds of crazy things like that. And then each player should give you a backstory, give you an idea of what they are, and so it walks you through now choosing a trigger. You know, it's like, why did you start? Like, did you, like, at the very beginning, like, the bandits attacked the party to theft, you know, or like, terror, something horrible. And then, so now you just got attacked, like, as I said, that idea, like, you're at a party, and, like, something for, like, the local baron or whatever, and a group of bandits come in and attack the place. So, begin the encounter, because there's a combat, right? And so, I am going to say, because we're going to have a total of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're drawing enemies, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw like 4 level 1 bandits, like so. So to equal my tier sum, because it's just a quick battle or whatever, and I'm going to put those on. You know, it's like they have an archer, they have a footpad, a brigand, and a thief. And I'm not going to go through the entire combat, but then basically to get everybody started. And so now we've done it. We've gone through that beginning thing. We're going to do that combat. Everybody's doing the exact same thing. You start the timer. You go through the attacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, to show that we're done. So then we resolve and so forth. Let's say they killed them all really quickly. I'm just doing this. Obviously, this probably wouldn't work out this way, but I just want to show that how it works. And so, it's like all adventurers heal to full health, so they get back, so they're ready to roll again. You get to draw a loot, and then, it's like we can either return the mini, or we can do a new encounter, like maybe there's another attack or things like that. And so then you're going to go through that process of, like, now, it's like, next, like, there's a surprise. It's like, oh my gosh, one of the bandits was, like, one of the Baron's men, or something, and so now you have your surprises, and now you build that adventure, and so on and so forth. You can, as you're playing, like, you can, and if you've played games like Dungeon World or things like that, where you allow the players to kind of help create the adventure, this works perfectly. It's like, what do you think these bandits are? Give me an idea what the surprise about the bandit would be. And then one of the players can come up with the idea. And then everybody kind of creates that story and creates it as it goes. And I found this works really well for that. But I just wanted to make sure I showed you that aspect of it as well. So there you go. You should have a really good idea of how the app works and how the actual mechanisms as far as the cards and the dice work as well. I mean, this is a fantastic... I mean, I don't think this will ever, like, take over for, like, my normal D&D campaign, but as far as playing role-playing games on a lighter side, like with my daughter or with my family, this is an excellent way to play, and I love it, I love it, I love it. So let me tell you more about that in my conclusion. All right, thank you for sitting through that. I realize it might not have been the best way for you to like figure out how the game is played, but I wanted to show you just kind of how it works a little bit. But as I said, I do invite you to go ahead and just download the app. You can, I mean, I understand it's not available yet for Apple products, but it will be done very, very soon. So you do need an Android type of situation to run it, or you can just do it at your desktop on your PC, and you can check it out that way as well. So, as I said, it probably will never take the place of that deeply engrossing RPG experience that is my every other weekend D&D group. As I said, that is a very, very large undertaking. But that is an entirely different animal than what this is. This is exactly what I want when my daughter says, let's play D&D. She's always saying, Dad, let's play D&D. And I'm like, oh, God, let me get out these 17 books, and okay, let me get out these maps that we have, and do you have your character sheet? Okay, here's your pencils and your dice, and it's like, all right, is everybody ready to go? Oh, it's dinner time. We'll do it later. So it's but now when my daughter is asked, let's play Dungeons and Dragons, it's like, oh, all right, here, hold on. We're ready to go, and you're ready to roll, and you're ready to dive in and have a good time, and it still feels like you're playing a role-playing game. Yeah, you might just be the wild hunter, but you have to encourage them to like say, what's your name? I'm Ebenezer, the wild hunter. Okay, great. Where'd you come from? Oh, it's like I'm a half elf. You know, I never knew my mother because she died during childbirth, but I was raised by my human father. You know, just standard fantasy stuff. And all of a sudden now, instead of just a little card in front of you, oh, I'm a wild hunter. You know, no, it's like, oh, you know, it's like in a young age, I showed an aptitude for magic, and that's why I can cast these spells. But my father was a hunter, and he kind of like, you know, showed me, you know, like the ways of the forest and what have you. And all of a sudden now you have this kind of deeply engrossing idea of a person, and then you can go ahead and insert yourself into the realm that you're creating. And so, like that first adventure I showed you, that you had that the Order of Retribution, which is like, oh, well, let's. And then so the next time you play, it's like, let's expand upon this Order of Retribution. Let's come up with some NPCs that are in that group, you know, like that might have known that brother Pell, and maybe, you know, and you know, you can find them as allies as well, and things like that, where you can, you know, build on that and make a larger, more varied a world, if you will. And the thing is that, or you can just say, no, I don't care about that. You guys are standing right in front of the cave that goes into the dungeon. You don't need a giant map to show everything. You can just say they're going to go into the first room, they're going to run into a troll, they're going to go into the next room, there's going to be a trap, you know, and it's a difficult trap, so then you roll a 15 or higher, they're going to take some damage. The next room is this, and you can just have a flow chart, or it can just all be in your noggin, and you're going to be able to go ahead and run them through still a very deeply engrossing you know, adventure, a role-playing experience. And it doesn't have to be fantasy. You could make this space. You could make it cowboys. You could, you know, make it the jungles of Africa. You could, you know, whatever setting you want it to be, you could make a fantastic, you know, I shouldn't say fantastic, that means fantasy, but you could make a very deeply engrossing and very fun role-playing experience, because all you basically need is this and the cards. That's it. Because you can have a dice rolling app on your phones and everything like that as well. So, you know, it's a fantastic thing. It boggles my mind. It's like the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think of the development as they go forward. They're talking about being able to play online, and so like you could just be like, you could hook up with your old RPG buddies that you had in college or high school, and you can say, hey, I'm going to run an adventure, and you have one person doing that. That's something they're going to do. It's like a development that they're going to make. So all of a sudden now you got 5 people, like all across the globe. And the cards are virtual, you know, and everybody's pushing the button, and they select the card, they show the card that they use, things like that. The sky is the absolute limit with this app here, and I can't wait to see where they're going to go with it in the future. As it is right now, it's fantastic. I love it. I love playing it with, like I said, my family, and I even made my buddies play. We pulled out like an old AD&D module, and I said, we're going to try playing this, and we're going to kind of convert it, and we're going to have fun. And these, like, hardcore grognard RPG of like 30 years or more guys were just having a blast playing it, because they didn't have to worry about, what's my +3, or is my, but in cold I got a +2 extra, and then I got that ring. I think I can do this. You know, they didn't have to worry about a bunch of stats in their head. They were able to just boil the whole situation down to just being their character and having a lot of fun, you know, and being able to like kind of be a little bit more rambunctious with their character too, because of the fact that, you know, if you have a character that you've created, you know, and you've walked, you know, this priestess of the healer god from like level 1 to level 10, you don't want anything bad to happen to that character that you've kind of grown and nurtured. You want her to, you know, survive these adventures. But if you're just kind of like throwing this together, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I dive into the well. Let's go ahead and let's get these guys. You know, it's like, oh, you know, and then something bad happened, and it makes for a more dynamic experience, obviously, with those situations. So there you go. That is Expedition. If you have any questions about it, ask away. Like I said, go download the app, check it out. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.